Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. I would like to start talking again about something I think I talked about 1 month ago. One man from Australia, Troy Eichelberg. Yeah, Troy. He's organizing a meditation. At that time, he thought he will do it at a certain point of time that around the globe anybody could join. But now he decided he will keep a whole weekend, and that's the next weekend. So 3rd and 4th of April, that people who want to participate, they can participate anytime, wherever they are. They can make short sessions of meditation or long sessions of meditation, or just in between, also wherever they are, join in, connect consciously. His idea is that everybody is focusing on unconditional love. Now, of course, this is not necessarily such an easy thing to do. What is unconditional love? How can we feel that? It is very helpful if we just remind ourselves, we are all connected. That which connects everybody, everything, every living being, and every so-called not living being, that is that unconditional love. So he starts in Australia on, I think, midnight, from Friday to Saturday, and then it goes on for 2 days. Of course, because of the time difference, it will go a bit more than 2 days, but within those 2 days, anybody who wants to join, just open up the heart to connect with the group that is connected all over the globe. In these 2 days, connecting with unconditional love as good as possible. I think it's a wonderful thing that he's doing. If many people do so at the same time, conscious that others also are doing the same thing, that gives a nice boost in a good direction, a boost that helps to turn the energy into a positive one, creative one. Anyhow, something very strongly is happening on Earth. But there are very contradictory energies at work right now. Very negative, very destructive, and very creative, very positive, very lightful, expansive energies. And the more people that opening up to the light, to the love, to the expansion, the more they help those energies to manifest themselves, to bring about a change in the atmosphere of this world. Everyone who does so benefits first themselves, but somehow contributes that the whole can evolve, develop into a beautiful direction. So I warmly recommend anyone who feels like doing so next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, to join into that current of that meditation as many times as they feel like, short time, long time, again and again, benefiting themselves from the current that is invoked by many people doing that simultaneously, and each one contributing to the intensity of it. We will still have our satsang next Saturday. It doesn't exclude that satsang. You can still do all your activities, but even when you are doing whatever you are doing, every now and then you may just remember, stop a little moment and join into that. I think this is a wonderful thing. People should do more such things. But as I have said last time already, when I mentioned it the first time, this is very good, doing such things. But what really matters is in our day-to-day life, day after day, that we keep on bringing the attention back to that beauty of existence as much as we can. That is the most powerful contribution that something beautiful can develop on this planet. It's not only the most beautiful contribution, but it's also that which helps every single one most to unfold and expand spiritually themselves. A weekend like Troy has organized like this can help. As I said, it gives a boost. It makes it easier after to remember. But of course, it's not that we can just for 2 days do that and then forget all about it. But keep on connecting with that. That is the best influence for ourselves, and it's the best influence for whole humanity. It's the best influence for this planet, for the climate, physically and subtly, to become lighter, to become more harmonious, more peaceful, where there can be more understanding and real love manifest. All right. Shall we start our dialogues? Is there anybody who straight away is ready to come in? Please come in. Okay, then I will answer to a question that Marianne has asked. She's asked me how to deal with sadness, what to do when we are getting lightly depressed, how to practice when the enthusiasm is disappearing to do so. Just don't stop completely. It is so very helpful if we continue to practice every day, at least sometime. We still can increase, do much more when we have a lot of time and a lot of enthusiasm. And we can decrease when there is less time or just less enthusiasm. But try not to abandon it completely. It helps to keep up a current, even in times where it's not easy, even in times where there is a lot of sadness and where there is no enthusiasm to practice. Sadness as an emotion, we can treat like, as I have been talking many times, how to treat emotions. Instead of struggling against sadness, instead of fighting against the fact that I'm feeling sad, accept, okay, right now I'm just feeling sad, so let it be there. And open up to it, instead of fighting with it. Instead of trying to find reasons where this sadness is coming from, why I'm feeling sad, what has it brought about, just accept there is sadness. And feel what it does. Observe how it is influencing your experience right now. What it is doing physically, how it feels physically, what it is doing energetically, how it feels energetically. And then don't get all tense about it. If we are not resisting sadness, then suddenly it's not such a negative emotion as we always think it is. Actually, if we don't resist, if we just observe, experience sadness, observe the experience and learn to relax in it, to accept and relax, then suddenly sadness can start to transform and become very expansive, beautiful. But then he mentions depression. When we struggle with sadness, when we fight with sadness, then either we overcome it for some time and it comes back again, or then we don't get the better of it and it's getting, because of our fighting with it, stronger and stronger, and has the tendency to pull the attention into a dark space, into a depressive space. And there, when that is happening, and then, as he says, then there is no enthusiasm to practice, then practice a little, but don't force yourself too much. Observe, as I have described it, as good as you can, but then do something about it. Go out. If you have the possibility, go out into nature. If you have the possibility, go into the forest. Connect with nature. Connect with the trees. Look, these wonderful, beautiful beings patiently standing there in the same place the whole life long. If you connect with them, immediately you start to feel better. Connect with the earth, connect with the sun, feel the wind and listen to the birds. Turn the attention away from feeling gloomy and depressive. For some time, just open your heart and see how much beauty is there around you. No matter what is happening in the world, that beauty is always there. And when we are in dark spaces, then we have the tendency absolutely not to see that anymore and not to perceive that anymore. So if you feel depressed, if you feel not enthusiastic, if you have the possibility, go out into nature. And the forest is especially good. Or climb up into a mountain where the air is clean, where there is not much of the human stuff there. But just gently walking in a forest and consciously opening up your heart to those beings that are standing there, to the trees that are there. You will see it helps you so much to let go of your gloominess, of depressive moods. You can start to practice a little something in the forest, and then you can go home again, and maybe you, after doing so, practice is again coming easier. It's good to remember practice is not a terrible task that we have to do, that we have to practice and practice and practice, and it's terrible and it's just heavy drudge, and then eventually somewhere, sometime in the far future, at the end of a long journey, we'll get the reward for all that. No, no. Practice is a crutch for the mind to make it easier to connect with the present. The only time, the only point where you are touching reality. We can think about reality, we can philosophize about reality, we can read about reality, all the wonderful philosophies, but the only point where you are really touching reality is that timeless present, now. And the practice is just a means to make it easier to touch that. It's not that we have to practice and practice and practice and through the practice construct something new. Practice will build up power, will build up energy that helps us to naturally be more relaxed and to easier connect. But it's not that we have in any way to create reality, to create the self. It's here, it's now. It's always waiting to be contacted consciously. And as long as we are in our me, me, me story, going on and on and on and on in the mind, even then we are not apart from that timelessness of the now, but in our attention we are completely engrossed in the current of time, in the past, and the other side of the world, in the future, somewhere, missing totally that beautiful, sparkling life force of the now. Practice is a means to connect with that. And every time you connect and let go, you immediately get a reward. You immediately feel like at least part of the burden that you think that you are carrying along is dropping. That's why I keep on encouraging people to practice in spite of all the teaching, the modern Advaitic teaching that practice is useless. You are already that. Practice is not useless. You are already that. And practice helps us to catch the attention on the mental level where it is so entangled and redirect it and bring it back to the source, here, now. Anybody who denies the value of that simply doesn't really know what they are talking about. The great masters throughout the ages have recommended that. Why should they be wrong? All right, Mariano, courage, courage, my friend. It will happen. Sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it goes all by itself, playfully, joyously. And then there may be a period where it just doesn't go that easy. Just don't get disheartened. Don't give it up completely. And it will also pass again. And you will collect yourself and find yourself again in a joyous and more lightful and more beautiful space. I wish you well. Hari Om, Hari Om. All right. So far, I only have talked. Is there anybody who would like to come in? Please come.
Hi, Werner.
Hello, Kristen.
Hi. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
I would like to get some inspiration for you to my practice.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel I'm in a very good space. And actually, since lockdown last year, I have had a lot of opportunity for practice. So I basically have I take the 4-6 hours in the morning to myself and diving in and out of practice, having a little bit of breakfast and continuing, sometimes continuing the whole day. Yeah. I feel very good with it. And last time I talked with you about the practice, you used the word just to let the experience expand.
Yes.
I understand intellectually what you and also like from inside what you're talking about. It's just when I go to a state of stillness or no movement or I don't know how to describe it. If even I think expand, it takes me out of the experience.
Right,
and maybe some inspiration to that. And then another question also, like the last days, I have almost felt like in a kind of narcotic state. It's like I'm really pulled into a deeper state. It's very pleasant. And then it's just like, because it's so pleasant, there's also this kind of enjoyment of hanging out there. I have talked with you about it before, but it's like, yeah, that's where I'm at. So
yeah, you're right.
Maybe you can say some inspiring words.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Well, often I'm talking about expansion and let it expand, and don't take it too literally. It's not that I mean a physical expansion. You may have experience like this, that certainly your experience is physically expanding, but I'm not necessarily talking about it. When I'm talking about that expansion, you can also call it intensification, that it's intensifying if we let it happen. It's not really that we have to do that. It's simply that we have to provide the condition that it can happen. And the condition that it can happen, that we stop interfering with all our mental tensions, with all our mental noise, with all the worries about the past and the present and the future, and learn to simply be here now and relax. And that's the condition that experience can expand, that meaning that it can intensify in so many different aspects, that just the experience of being conscious, of being alive, is intensifying and yielding more of its inherent beauty, of its inherent joy of existence. Now you say a few days now you feel a bit like on a narcotic. That it's quite a nice space and it feels like hanging out there. Well, it's nothing wrong. It's not that you have to push that away if it's nice. Simply, you can keep the alertness. You can still, when that pleasant experience comes, not just get completely lost in that and think, ah, finally, after all, I got some back. But still, bring the attention to the source, to that which makes that pleasant experience possible, as good as possible in one way or another. How we are doing it, it doesn't matter. Whatever help we are using, that doesn't matter at all. That which is the most natural for us, that we are using usually for our practice, we can keep on using that also when we are in a place where we feel like rather settling down, and the motivation to go deeper may not come so easy. But then when you become aware, I have the feeling I'm just settling down a bit on a pleasant on a pleasant level, then you can at that moment just go deeper again. If somebody does self-inquiry, it helps very much then in that situation. But who is experiencing this? And immediately you connect again stronger, intensify that connection, and relax in that. Or no matter how, it doesn't matter how you help, what you do, but what you use usually for your practice. Then when you become aware, oh, I'm getting a bit comfortable here, then don't deny yourself the beauty of it and the pleasantness of it, but don't get stuck there, don't stop there. Okay, connect with that which makes the experience possible, whether it's a nasty experience or whether it's a pleasant experience. It's nice to have in between a bit relief and to have nice feelings and nice states in your practice. It's not that you have to think, no, they are no good, and have to push them away. Don't run after them, don't run away from them. Let them come as they come, let them go as they go. Simply keep the alertness also when they are there. If we take the trouble to keep the alertness when it's going well, we can avoid a lot of trouble. If we are getting lazy, then somehow destiny has to come and shake us up again and say, hey, come on, make a few steps.
Yeah.
How are you doing? How are you coping with your physical state? Is it getting easier?
It's improving. I'm taking that medicine from the anthroposophic doctor, and I put myself on a very different and strict diet. I've been a vegetarian for 40 years, and now I eat fish almost every day, and I took away rice and beans, and it was quite a thing for me, a total kind of reconstruction. And I feel much better, and the last weeks I have been feeling healthy. I still have some weakness. I don't have the energy level, but anyway, maybe we are also just totally out of shape as a nation because of 4 months of lockdown. So it could also be. And I had blood test, and it's had already gone 30% in the right direction.
Oh, wonderful.
So
wonderful.
so I feel really positive. And
good. That's nice.
Yeah, I take it just as another little thing.
Right.
I miss some of my hot drinks, and I miss beans. But okay.
Okay.
I'm getting to like fish also. What to do?
What to do?
Yeah, it was a challenge, but okay.
Yeah. So it's sort of a tapas for you to eat fish.
It is very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fish in the morning.
Oh yeah. Sounds horrible.
I know, but I am getting used to it.
Yeah, I will. If it helps you physically, perfectly fine. Huh? Yeah.
I'll see. I'll try to do this diet for half a year.
Yeah.
And then I'll start to reintroduce. I mean, I would prefer it if I can go back on rice and beans again, if it's possible.
Yeah, sure.
But now my system is like, it reacts like this when I get something that is not. I'm very surprised at how finely tuned it is, because I have always looked at myself that I could eat anything and not be unwell.
Yeah.
I mean, travel in India without stomach upset and all this.
Yeah.
But now it's like, if I eat just a tiny little thing of what is not in this frame that I'm eating, I feel it immediately. So it's like the instrument has really been tuned. And I think it also, maybe that's also why it's so easy for me to go in a deeper state. Maybe some of the diet there. Who knows?
It seems for the time being, it makes perfectly sense that you are strict about it.
Yeah.
Eventually, you may loosen up again.
Yeah.
But it's great that you are not more worrying about the thing, because I mean, in the beginning, naturally, it gave you quite a bang, but you have beautifully come out of that. Huh? That's great. Wonderful.
Yeah, I had a lot of help from you and from the whole Satsang. I really felt whole, back up and healing, and
nice, wonderful.
Then it was easier to proceed.
Great. Continue like this. I wish you well.
Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. Hari Om. Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
Is there anybody else who would like to come? Let me just talk about an aspect because of our discussion with Christian. Now, usually, more and more, the idea is spirituality, that means automatically pure vegetarian or even vegan. Don't even take any animal products, not even milk, nothing, no eggs, pure vegan. And if people feel that is the right thing for them to do, then that's also the right thing for them to do. And of course, if we eat subtler food, it helps to make the whole psychophysical manifestation more sensitive. If people eat always very heavy food, then so much of the energy is needed just to process it. And it has the tendency to make the body also heavy and gross. But still, bodies are different. We cannot make a rule and say that's how it is, and it is true for everybody. Bodies are different, and sometimes what is right for one is not right for another at all. What seems to be the most healthy thing for one, eating only health food, doesn't bring anything positive or good for another one. So it's good to learn to listen to our system, to our own body, and feel what is good and what is not good, what helps, what makes it more difficult. And if we are honest, we can start to feel that, and then we can proceed on our own way. Anyhow, if we are listening to all the health food recommendations, one is getting crazy because any health prophet is telling another story. So be honest, listen to your body. And it can very well be, like in Christian's case, that for the time being at least, something that she strictly avoided, but others would say, don't do that, that's unspiritual. that it's the best thing for the body to build up strength, to help, to give a base for further spiritual development. There is no rule, it's like this or like that. The general tendency is rather to eat light instead of heavy. And the rule of thumb is just eat moderately. Don't stuff your face all the time because it's a big disturbance, but don't starve yourself either. Eat moderately and listen to your body, and then your body will start to tell you more and more clearly what is the right food for you, what is the right way of eating that food for you. And that is much a better direction than any of the health people who want to tell you what you should and should not eat, or the spiritual people who want to tell you what you should and should not eat, can tell. Your body tells the best story. And so it's perfectly fine in a situation now, like Kristen is, that although she never felt like doing so, it feels eating a lot of fish is fine. And there is nothing unspiritual about it, but in contrary, it may help her to strengthen the nervous system, to strengthen this psychophysical manifestation, to help to develop spiritually easier and gentler and more joyous. Okay, there I'm talking again. Anybody who wants to come in, please come in. How many are there? 33 people. Somebody of 33 people will have something to say.
Hari Om, Werner.
Hello, Mari.
Hari Om. I'm very glad you've mentioned this topic, and Kristen as well, because some time back I was thinking about asking you about it because I've experienced so much change in my diet.
Yeah.
And particularly since the lockdown, I am fundamentally a vegetarian.
Yeah.
But in the lockdown, I experienced very clearly a high level of sensitivity to food, to like I was feeling when the food felt good and when it didn't feel good at a level that I had never experienced before. Like, for example, I used to eat rice cakes normally, and then when the lockdown started, I could feel how they created some form of fungus inside.
Yeah.
So it was like, like I could feel inside very deeply the effect of food, which doesn't mean that the rice cakes create that. It's just that in that moment, the effect that they were having in my body didn't feel good. And I stopped having them. And it happened very radically with sugar, very, very radically. There was one meditation where I got an image very clear that I had to stop the sugar.
Yeah.
And I wasn't having any particular, what I was having was chocolate. I've always been kind of chocoholic.
Chocoholic.
So chocolate has been my source of comfort. No coffee, I've never drank coffee, but chocolate. Anyway, there's been a big process with food. Very interesting to see how, precisely what you are describing now, how I've tuned in more with the body. And for instance, I've spent most of my winter eating salads, lots of salads and fruit, and I didn't do that before. I used to have a lot more soups, but this time it was like, no, I don't feel like having hot food during the winter. And now my question is about sweet, because I've always had a difficult relationship with sweet. It was in my culture, and when I grew up, having the cake, having the chocolate was like the ultimate for me.
Yeah.
And definitely when the time in tough times, a good bar of chocolate would console me for a while. So there is that association. And then I went through all this long period of doing experiencing with a lot of diets.
Yeah.
And in those diets, it was very strict, the cutting out the sugar, blah, blah, blah. And now I am in a different space, and I love some inspiration from you on this. Is like, I feel my body enjoys sweet. Not refined sweet, but like dates, like that kind of thing. But my mind seems to have a lot of game with that. It's like, oh, you've done it again.
Yeah.
You know, like there is that impulse sometimes to eat too much of it.
Yeah.
And then the reaction. So if you could please talk a bit about that, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Basically, just what you said all at the end, you gave already the answer. There is the impulse to eat too much of it, and then you have the reaction. So there you can see, the body told me you can eat it, but eat less of it. And I'm not an enemy of sugar like many are, that thinking sugar is right now in the modern diet prophecies, sugar is become like the devil.
Devil, yeah.
Right. Just and for some people it's really not good to eat sugar. But for many people, there is absolutely no harm to eat moderate sugar. I don't think it's very good for anybody to stuff our faces with a lot of sugar stuff. But if you observe the body as you have observed, and then you feel, okay, this is perfectly fine to eat, and then you can keep yourself in limits, then don't start to play mind games and think, but maybe it's not good, I should avoid it totally. If your psychophysical system tells you this is perfectly all right to eat dates or also a little bit of chocolate, then so what? And you have your little bit of sweet. Just learn not to overdo it. And then you feel whether the body is fine with it. And when the body says, okay, actually, it's no more good, it's better to completely avoid it, then you will feel that. Somehow or other, you will have a reaction that tells you it's better to skip it completely. But if that reaction physically is not there, but rather you feel good about it physically, then you don't have to artificially create a mental tension or think maybe it's not good to do so. Then forget about all about what you heard about the theories of dieting and listen to the best teacher you have, your own body. and if we go beyond limits where it's good, then the body is telling us. We just have to have the honesty to listen to it and to acknowledge and to accept, okay, there I have overdone it. The body is telling me, the body is reacting. So I know it's not good to encourage to go further in that direction. That is not that after that you have to punish yourself. Okay, you overdid it a bit, so what? But you know, the direction is to be more moderate, and then you're fine. For some people, sugar is absolutely a taboo because the body can't stand it. For others, it's perfectly valid to include some sweet. In the old yogic traditions, sweet was always included in the way a yogi should eat. But it's not that they should stuff their face and become so big. But it was not for the yogis, that was never a question, that a little sweet is perfectly fine. For some people, dairy product, it's just a taboo. It doesn't work. The body refuses to do something. For others, it's perfectly fine. And even if milk is hard, then you can eat curds and you feel how the body is reacting, and it's fine. And in moderation, also cheese, which often is said that's very, very bad. It's not very, very bad. For one person, it may be bad. For the other person, it may be very healthy to do so. So learn more to listen what your own body tells you than what you hear or read about it. I mean, in a situation where you are sick and you seek guidance, like Kristen is doing now, and said, okay, let's give it a chance. Let's follow the direction of the one who is treating me. Then you can do so. And if you feel it's doing good, then fine. But if you feel after some time, no, it's completely off, it's no good, then you can also accept, okay, I gave it a chance, but it's not for me. It's not working for me. And you listen again more to your own feeling, to your own inspiration.
I feel it's a really great exercise on flexibility, because it really, what I've experienced in this lockdown period is that it changes. It just changes.
Yes.
I think that I am mainly eating this, and then I buy in the supermarket sometimes based on the fact that last week I was eating mainly this, and then I feel that my body actually doesn't want that anymore.
That's right. That's perfectly normal. You can, for some time, feel, okay, there. It seems that this, whatever I'm eating here, brings something that really is needed, and then you think, okay, I have to eat it all the time. After some time comes, oh, now it's enough.
Enough, yeah.
And you can accept, you can listen to that. You can accept that and follow that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Werner. As always, very helpful. Thank you. Hari
You're
Om.
welcome. Hari Om. Hari Om. Okay. Is there anybody else who would like to talk about something?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Moksha. Hello, Moksha.
Hello. Do you see me?
Yes, I see you now.
Okay, yeah, it takes a while with the computer. Yeah, and now we're talking so much about health. I can say something. I am into the practice, the Hoffman, the cold water.
Yeah.
And it is amazing. It is amazing.
Right.
If we have a little pool with very cold water,
yeah,
I go in after breathing 3 minutes every day.
Yeah.
It is outside. You cannot think about anything. If you go in the water, the whole thing stops. It is great.
Great.
I can really recommend people, and I feel it is doing for the body and the mind. It is amazing. It is amazing. For me, it is incredible. I can really recommend everybody to give it a try if you are interested in it.
Right. It's great. Obviously, for you, it's the right thing to do. Others may feel inspired to try because you say so, and maybe it's not necessarily the right thing for them to do. But of course, it's always good to give the thing a try if one feels like to do so.
That's why I wanted to say it, because it's so simple. You do a few breathing exercise,
Yeah.
And then you go, and the mind says, no, it is too cold.
Yeah.
But if you go in the water, you keep on breathing, and then you feel you cannot think anymore, and then you can easily stay in very cold water without any problem. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it brings you so directly in contact with breathing. It's this, yeah, I'm enthusiastic about it.
So thank you for sharing your enthusiasm.
You're welcome.
Maybe one or the other will feel inspired to try it out for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, here in the tropics, there is not so much cold water to do
No.
so.
You have to sit in your fridge, right? Yeah, Werner. Thank you very much for your satsangs. Very beautiful.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om. So far, we had very much a healthy satsang. Satsang about health. No, it was more than that. I mean, health is a subject that always comes to people's mind quickly. If the body is too sick, it's not easy to keep that connection, to keep the detachment. Somebody like Ramana Maharshi, of course, it didn't matter anymore. He completely neglected his body. When he came as a young boy, we used to sit in the temple, and then people were troubling him, so he went underground in the Patala Lingam. But at that time, this was not clean, had not been cleaned for a long time, so he was sitting there in the dirt, and it was full of ants, and the ants were eating up his body, but he was so intensely absorbed, he didn't even feel it. It didn't disturb him. But not many people are like Ramana Maharshi. So it makes sense to keep the body reasonably healthy, that it is a helpful instrument in our spiritual growth. For Ramana, the body also had to change, but it was always sort of like lacking behind. He went so powerfully deeper and deeper and developed in his power that the body always had trouble to follow because he just completely neglected. But his intensity of that experience was such that it didn't matter to him. But the body suffered. In already quite early in his life, he started to have that shaking disease. And when people asked him, but Ramana, how is it that you already in the middle of your life, your body is shaking so easily? And then he jokingly would reply, yeah, if you put a big elephant in too small a shed, then that shed is bound to have a lot of troubles. For Ramana, that was fine. He was so intensely in touch with the essence that it didn't matter. So he could completely neglect that physical level. But other people try to imitate it and then neglect their body, and it functions only as long as the body is well. And then when the body is not well, then they forget all about that detachment from the body. I mean, Ramana was a special case. If you have such a tremendous detachment, then nothing matters. But otherwise, it makes perfectly sense to keep the body healthy, not to be obsessed with health. Like many health food people, it becomes a total obsession. It becomes a religion, what you should eat and should not eat. And then it's totally defeating its own purpose. But keep the body reasonably healthy, that it's not disturbing you in your spiritual unfolding. In contrary, that it becomes a base on which your spiritual experience can unfold. Then it makes sense to give a bit attention on that level to keep the body healthy and do whatever you feel you're resonating with it. Like if you have listened now to Moksha and you feel, ooh, that strikes a chord, I may also try it, then by all means try, and you may find out it's doing you a lot of good. And others may feel, oh no, that's certainly not for me. But whatever you feel helps to keep your body reasonably healthy is good. Just don't make it into an obsession, because then it's counterproductive spiritually. But to use Ramana Maharshi's example, if you put an elephant into small shed, it's bound to have a lot of troubles, but we can say our spiritual growth, our spiritual unfoldment is like that elephant is growing up. And we can parallel with that growth, adjust the shed where it is tied into, to adjust the shed and make it stronger and make it bigger and make it bigger as that power, that spiritual power is increasing. There is absolutely no contradiction. It's not that either if you are spiritual then don't care about the body or then you're just busy with your physicality. No, no. Both can harmoniously be blended, and for nearly everybody, this is the much better approach than to try to completely neglect the body. I mean, all glory to Sri Ramana Maharshi. I can have nothing but the highest respect and admiration for him and his life, what he has manifested and the beauty he has brought into this world. That doesn't mean we have externally to imitate everything that he has done. Ramana was Ramana, and hardly anybody can do what he did. So let's not pretend, let's not try. Leave your own story, and I warmly recommend that you are learning to integrate the different level. So integrate the physical level and do that which helps the body to be healthy, that it is not an obstacle in our spiritual practice, that it is not an obstacle in our spiritual development. All right. Is there anybody else who would like to come in? Please come.
Hi, Werner.
Ah, hello, Klaus.
Hi. I have also tried the Hof method for 10 days now.
I see.
Yeah.
Inspired by Moksha.
Actually, it was just a woman in the job who said that I think she dared me not to try ice bathing. So I started to prepare for it with doing the Hof method.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel any benefit from it?
I feel I start in the morning. I always wake up around 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I had a tendency just to stay in bed. But I started with the breathing exercises, and it was just putting on an app and just going with the breathing out the old stuff and bringing in the new stuff with the fresh breathing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go into the shower and take a cold shower, and I do meditation and also the Tibetan reads, 5 Tibetan reads in the morning.
Right.
So it's like it's just becoming more like a routine in the morning for me. It's like a good start of the day. But I don't hold it more tightly than that either. And I feel like it's just showing up, like this inspiration is showing up, and before it was depression, and then it's like inspiration is showing up, and it seems like things are more in alignment, like it's just showing up more than I am doing this. I don't know where inspiration comes from or where depression comes from, but it's just seems like it's there and it's coming. So I'm like more just trusting the bigger force, and also that there comes up this my own topics comes up, but it's just to be with them and be patient with them when it's needed. And sometimes it's just to remind yourself who you are, and then when you remind yourself who you are, you don't remember those things, so they're not so important anymore. So that's just how I see these things at the moment. It's yeah, so I just wanted to share this.
Oh, nice, beautiful that it is by itself. No, you have to do your part, but that the inspiration is coming back easier and the depression is going away.
Yeah.
And of course, doing your routine, doing your thing helps to build up energy, and that helps to be in a lighter mood much easier, of course. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just feels like it's not only meditation, it's all about more about the whole life than it's just about doing one thing and being able to connect everything that helps. But it seems like it's not like I'm following a strict program in the mind. I have to do this, but sometimes I just let go, and then things just seem to unfold by themselves. I was also last weekend. I was also in the mountains with a tent, and it can be quite cold to sleep outside now with the snow, and you have to be really aware of the body where you put it so you don't get cold. And when you make fire inside of a tent with this gas, you also have to be very cautious. So it was a tiring trip, but also I just felt like, okay, I just need to be here. I don't need to be anything more than that. And then things sort themselves out. You know, I picked up the sledge for the 10th time when it was dropped around, but still that energy and still that power was there to do that without I have to using the will or anything. It's just like unfolding.
Yeah. Something that you said earlier is very important, that you are building up the trust in the higher force, and it makes everything so much easier if we develop that faith that after all, ultimately nothing can totally go wrong. We are just here for the ride of this human experience, and sometimes it's a bit stormy, and if we are unskillful, then we may create a lot of unnecessary suffering, but ultimately it's always for the best. And the more, it's not that you can artificially just have that trust. Somehow it has to grow, but we can give it a chance. We can either block and not have that trust, or we can give it a chance. And the more you give it a chance, the more it starts to go deeper and simply be there. And the more you have that faith, you can call it faith in God, you can call it faith in yourself, you can call it faith in a guru, you can call it faith in the higher forces. It's just that faith that basically somewhere everything is perfectly all right, it's going to be all right. The more you can feel that, the easier you just can go, live from moment to moment, from day to day.
Yeah, it's like it's okay even when it's not okay.
Yes, it's okay even when it's not okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we should not creatively shape things as good as we can. that it's okay, but then often it's not okay. The situation may not okay the way we like it. Then our mental reactions may not be okay the way we like them. But if we can detach from them, observe it, and then deal again with our present reaction to these reactions, with our present reactions to the situation, then that brings you back to the source, and then the unpleasant and the not favorable situation may even have helped us to go deeper.
Yeah, they feel like they're coming up. Maybe it's all conditioning or all layers, which is just there. But just to talk about them and to see them brings lights into them, and it's easier for them to free up. It seems like so it's good, and that openness also. I think it's also important to bring it into the culture and to share these values around to the people also. So it can be easier for people also to be vulnerable and to be honest and to open up more and not hold things down, but be able to release them.
Right. You don't have to become a preacher thinking that you have to now enlighten the people to the proper way. But if you feel there is an openness in somebody, then don't feel shy to come out with what you feel like telling, no matter whether people sometimes think you're a little bit loony or not. So what? People will think like this anyhow.
Yeah,
we can do whatever we like. But right, have the courage when you feel there is really an openness, that's the right moment to share something that is really helpful for you, that is very constructive. Let it flow out of you and not be afraid of the reactions it may cause.
Yeah. Yeah, I see also in the work I get some really tough subjects where maybe people don't have houses or it's cold. So, but just to be able to be with them in those situations where they are in chaos and trying to bring that calmness into the situation, and then it just seems like their mind is dropping down a bit. It's not so chaotic, and then you can start to work with solutions and you get solutions, but you cannot progress. You cannot say how this process will be when you start this, but it just seems like that trust is being transferred in some way. I've seen it in some cases lately, and maybe it's just me thinking about this, but it seems like it's just slowing their mind down and making them able to trust me and also trust and think more constructive.
Definitely. What is real, your real experience, what is an honest, real experience for you that will transmit itself, even if you don't say a thing about it. Just being with the people, there is a resonance there, and your strength will help them to connect more with their own strength. Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. Wish you well.
Hariom.
Hariom.
You too.
Hariom. There's still some time. Is there anybody else who would like to come in?
Hello, Werner.
Oh, hello, Ilona.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. It's gonna be another medical issue, I'm afraid.
One more medical issue.
Yes.
That's today's theme.
Yeah, probably. The question actually will be, it's gonna be like, I have this
autoimmune disease from my childhood. It's already 40 years, and it's I became a doctor to just to heal myself, not to feel this abuse from the traditional medical institutions. And 40 years, it's already a lot, and it starts to break down a little bit. So this January, I suffered from the hip. It's not fracture, but it's aseptic necrosis. It's called aseptic necrosis. It's like the head of the hip, it just collapses. And,
Yes. Yes.
And basically, I have to change now the to prosthetics to make an operation.
Right.
I had I was very upset. I don't know. It would. I didn't expect that actually.
Yes.
For
Right.
me, and from that big disappointment and a lot of fear came. So other things came up. Though I had terrible diarrhea. After diarrhea, my kidney shut up.
Oh.
So when it was short period, but with the kidney, with my disease, kidney can also be damaged with the it's called amyloidosis of the kidneys. But I never knew that. So now I go a lot to the medical institutions and do a lot of tests, and they want to do the kidney biopsy, and they all
Scare.
They all try to scare me. They don't know how psychologically, although I was a doctor, like colleague, but they all, oh, you already have this amyloidosis. Oh, you are gonna be too connected to the artificial kidney very soon. They talk like that. I don't know. It's a medical fascism. What is that?
Yeah.
So I'm I am facing a lot of fear about my body, and that is kind of sort of strange, because I meditated so many years, and and I know this body is not all me. It's just I'm not the body, but still, I'm facing these terrible things. All the fear comes.
Yes.
And the question, I guess, will be how some suggestion how to deal with this in this kind of situations.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can talk about fear, or do you also want practical suggestion what to do or not to do? I don't think that's what you want from me.
I want some kind of how to deal with my fears. Yeah, basically.
Right. It's natural. The body has its own life will, and the fear of that, the fear of decay is there in everybody. And then when you face all these difficulties, it's natural that it comes up. So don't be too surprised that this is happening in spite of all your meditation. And don't be disappointed with yourself because of that, but then you can accept the fear. Watch the fear. See what it is doing. Whenever you become aware, oh, it's really getting me, and that fear is there, instead of starting to struggle with the fear and tell yourself, I shouldn't feel fear because I'm spiritual since many years, then accept, okay, fear is there. Open even up to the fear. If you don't resist for a moment, it may even become worse. But then if you just sort of shift and see what the fear is doing to you right now. Not in your story yesterday and how it has been building up, but right now. Observe how it is influencing your experience right now. See what kind of tension it is producing, and there we can start to relax. Start to relax on the easiest level, relax physically, as good as you can. You may not say relax and immediately you completely relax, but as soon as that impulse is given, there is at least some relaxation. If you feel tensions that are there because of the fear in the body in a certain place, don't desperately try to relax that place, but relax what you can relax. Relax your legs, relax your shoulders, relax what can be relaxed. And then the other places also relax at least to some extent. And the more you physically relax, the more energetically also you start to relax. And if you physically, energetically relax more, then the emotions lose their power. They cannot more be destructive. Then even fear is an emotion that you can just observe, and then it's no big deal. There is an emotion, and if we are not feeding it with fighting or being afraid of the fear, then it comes, it's there for some time, and it goes. That's the nature of emotion. They don't stay, they are not stable, they come in waves, they come and go. But we are feeding emotions, and then out of that wave becomes a tsunami. It's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So learn not to be afraid of fear, afraid of being afraid. It's natural that in your situation, then when you hear all the horror stories that could happen, that fear comes. But if you don't feed that fear comes, it's there for some time, and it goes, and you become more sure of yourself that no matter what is going to happen, actually there is that part in you that is not affected no matter what is happening. Then at the same time, do what is needed to do. Okay, you were shocked, you didn't expect that your hip is being destroyed, but then since we are in modern times and it can be operated, and after that you have an artificial hip, what's wrong with that? Beautiful that it is possible versus a time where it was not possible, that you can walk around in spite of that decay in the body. If other things need to be done, I mean, whatever you can do in a natural way, fine, but it's not all wrong that the modern medicine can offer us. So many, especially in chirurgy, in so many things are there that can make the life more easier for so many people. And if that possibility is there, don't resist that. But the fear will come. Whenever you go to a doctor and he talks like this, and this is already that much, then the fear will come. And then don't be afraid of that fear. Let that fear come, let it be there for some time, watch what it is doing, and let it go again. And then you do what needs to be done. To make your life bearable instead of a torture. To deal as good as you can with the situation, with the fact that this disease has been troubling you your whole life long. And now sometimes it's manifesting even worse. And then like this, you can make the best out of the situation that is there. If you don't resist, but at the same time, don't despair. If you despair, then you collapse and you are being pulled into a dark space, and from there, it's very difficult to emerge again. If you can accept, okay, this is part of my human experience, that it's simply not easy physical. So whenever there is a sign again that something is not easy, then the fear will come. Don't struggle with the fear. Accept, okay, it's natural. Even if you have meditated many years, it's natural that the fear comes. But if your meditation can help you to learn to just watch the fear instead of being completely swept away, being overwhelmed by it. And then that fear comes, it's actually even energizing your body if you don't fight it. Then the fear in itself can be quite energizing your psychophysical manifestation. You observe it, you let it be there for some time, and if we don't feed it, then it will slowly go away again. And you can accept, okay, my physical story is not the easiest, but no matter what my physical story, there is that center, there is that aspect in you that is absolutely not affected by any of this. It was there before the body, it's there during the body exists, and it will still be there when the body is gone.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay.
Shall we for today leave it at that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
great. Okay.
Very good.
You have my best wishes with you.
Thank you. Thank
Hari
you.
Om. Hari Om.
Thank you so much.
If somebody would like to come in, there are a few more minutes. If not, then we will end the official satsang a little bit earlier today. Once more time, next Saturday, Sunday, everybody who feels a resonance, everybody who feels like joining in, there are people around the world who join in that meditation, in that common intent of unconditional love. It's not an emotion that we somehow have to produce artificially, emotionally. Love. The emotion may come and may go, but cultivating that awareness of the all oneness, everything is connected. So everybody who feels like is welcome to join. You can do your meditation times. You can do many times, or you can do one time, or you can also every now and then, without officially meditating, just remember and connect. Okay, let's strengthen that beautiful current of love, of light, of beauty that all those good people support, boost, and help that the beautiful, the constructive, the lightful forces can manifest smoother and easier on this level in this world. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.